All right, it's the off season. We need to start talking about these Utah Jazz young players, what they need to improve on. Today, we're talking about Kyle Filipowski. Let's get into it. All right, guys. So today I just want to talk about Kyle Filipowski. I'm going to try to talk about each of these different Jazz players, the young players, but also the older players, how they can improve this offseason so that Utah has the development they need going on. So today we're talking about Filipowski. Kyle Filipowski, if you were watching the Jazz this season, he was easily the most surprising rookie on the Jazz and arguably one of the most surprising rookies in the entire NBA. I believe Zach Lowe put him on his second all-rookie team, which is incredible. Filipowski as a second-round pick being the best Jazz rookie is pretty remarkable, considering they had 2 first-round picks in Cody Williams and Isaiah Collier. So Filipowski has already exceeded expectations. He has looked fantastic, and where he's really looked the best has been on the offensive end. So you just take a quick glance at his stats, and honestly, if we looked at his stats maybe a month or two before the season's end, they would have been even better, because before the last month or so of the season, Kyle Filipowski was shooting around 39% from 3. Now, I don't know if it was just being tired. He got a ton of minutes to end the season, and I don't know if that wore him out, because all these rookies come into the league, they go from playing 32 games in the college season, they go to the NBA, they're playing 82, and it's much higher level. You're playing against all these NBA athletes compared to playing Westchester State from Kentucky. It's just different. And so I have to give Filipowski a little bit of leeway. That last month was pretty rough. His three-point percentage for the season goes down from 39 to 35. But the fact that he ends the season shooting 35% from 3 as a rookie who plays kind of a forward-centered hybrid, although I think what we learned about Filipowski this season is for him to succeed, he's going to have to be power forward. He's going to have to play the 4 because he just does not protect the rim. He is not a shot blocker. For the season, he averaged 0.3 blocks per game, and he's a 7-footer. That is just not a part of his game. He is an offensive weapon, and that's great. I mean, for a second-round pick, for a player to be second round, 7 feet tall, shoot 35% from 3, at times was shooting 40% during the year until he just got worn out. And then from the field, he shot 50% from the field as a rookie. Pretty amazing. And that's as a stretch big. So he is shooting high from the three-point line. From the field, he's shooting great. And what's really exciting about Filipowski is his 2-point percentage, 61%. He showed so many different ways to score. He was efficient with his, near the basket. He just found ways to score. He uses that 7-foot frame really well. And this is the baseline. So his baseline, 50% from the field, 35% from 3, 61% on 2s. And that's as kind of a crafty, all-around player. He kind of reminds me of Vucevic in a lot of ways. That might be the comp, which is great. If you get a Vucevic in the second round, that's awesome. And what I like about Filipowski is I feel like he's got enough quickness. He's not the quickest, but he's got enough quickness that I think that he can survive defensively as a 4 on the perimeter. Obviously, he's not a 3, just nowhere near that. But because he is just absolutely not a rim protector, Utah needs to develop him as a 4. The downside to Filipowski, he was not the greatest on the defensive end. And that's, for a rookie in the second round, it's not that bad. But the defensive numbers weren't as bad as you think. If you go to Basketball Index, the LeBron data, his defensive LeBron was a minus, let's point 2.4. Now, comparatively, Utah's best defensive player was Walker Kessler. He was at a 1.27. He was really solid. Filipowski being just slightly negative. Not as bad as you'd think. I'd be really excited about that if I'm Jazz fans. And when you compare that to some of the players on the Jazz, Lauri Markkanen a minus 1.6, Keontae George minus 2.19, and Colin Sexton a minus 2.41. Filipowski did really pretty well. That's his rookie season. So here's what we need from Kyle Filipowski. And what's nice is that his offense actually doesn't look as good as you think. So there's actually room for improvement for Filipowski around the edges. He knows how to shoot the ball. He knows how to score around the rim. He can do a lot of different things. And with time and experience, he's going to learn all those little nuances to the game that come, ways to score, shots not to take, passes to make. And that was the other thing that made him so exciting, is the passing. He passes the ball, assists 1.9, but when you go look at his per 36 numbers, let's just look at these really quick. It's 3.3, so he moves the ball really well, and I would argue that that's going to look even better with time. He was a really nice passer. He just does everything while he's on the floor on the offensive end. And the LeBron data is telling us that he can get even better. If that three-point shot starts falling with more regularity, he gets that to like 40%, and he's shooting 60% from two. That is exciting stuff. And really, the other place where he really was surprisingly not as good as you would expect was just the free throw line. He shot 65% from the free throw line. For a lot of the season, he was around 50-something%. And so that got better as the season went on. And when he improves that, it makes him an even more effective weapon. I don't know what his future as maybe a starter is, but at minimum, Filipowski looks like he's going to be a very nice, at worst, bench player. Think of someone maybe like Bobby Portis on the Milwaukee Bucks, or someone like that who was a big-time contributor to that championship Milwaukee Bucks team. Like I said, the defense is where he's got to get better, and that's my off-season wish list item for Filipowski, is really improve the defense. But I think the thing that's going to improve for him is if he can get just in better physical shape. If he can just play at a high level every single night while he's on the floor, that he's in peak physical condition, he comes on the floor, he's strong, he's not worn out, his three-point shot is as good on game 75 as it is in game 5, that's where you become an elite NBA player. And if he can do that, if he can get in that elite physical shape, there is no reason why Filipowski can't be a solid contributing player to this Utah Jazz team for years to come. He became so effective at the end of this season. There were times where you were scared that he was going to hurt this Utah Jazz tank they were doing last season and probably going to do this year. And Filipowski's only going to be better. He really earned a lot of minutes. And he absolutely makes it possible for the Utah Jazz to trade John Collins, because you can now play Kyle Filipowski. And depending on what happens with the lottery, we'll see. He may get even more time and more minutes on the floor, depending on what they do. But regardless, he is going to get on the floor even more. I expect the Jazz to likely make some trades this offseason. John Collins is more than likely going to be moved because he is now an expiring contract, so a team can take him on. He can audition for whatever team that trades for him and earn that long-term deal if he can earn it. But regardless, Utah has a chance to trade John Collins and give all those minutes to Filipowski, and we'll also see what happens with Lauri Markkanen. I think a trade for Lauri Markkanen is extremely possible this offseason, depending on what the Jazz do in the lottery, who they get in the draft, and what their goals are next year. But we do know the Jazz want to keep their pick next year. It is top 8 protected, so they have to be one of the bottom 8 teams, and to do that, they've got to make sure they're at least, to make 100% sure, they've got to be bottom 4. If they go bottom 5 and get jumped by like 3 or 4 teams, that would be a disaster for Utah, especially if they spend the season trying to lose. And in next year's draft, it's incredible. But that doesn't have anything to do with Kyle Filipowski. So guys, let me know what you think. What do you think Kyle Filipowski can be? What's his ceiling? Can he improve defensively as a power forward? What do you think he's going to be for the Jazz? Like and subscribe to the video, guys. I want to give a shout out to the All-Stars before I go. All right, let's give a shout out to Christian House, Money to House, Robert, Hall of Fame, Cam Bam, thank you, ma'am. Ryan Edward Perry, the legend. I believe in Steve Jazz Exile. See ya, Alexa later. Jordan the Goat, best roll. Austin R. Grant, editor extraordinaire. KG10 to TH5, and Patrick Akubo, the connoisseur. Guys, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and if you'd like to support the channel, make sure you join. Guys, I will talk to you next time when we talk about another player. Who should I talk about?